I hope that if you are a fan, that you too, that you do, prescribe to getting memorabilia and things that represent what you love. So I'll just read the quote to you. It says, "We can make it together, period, but we can only make it together, period." So pretty meaningful stuff, pretty meaningful for the apocalypse as well as just general life. And I think we can kind of get started on what the journal segment is for today. So today is the last day of March. I have a lot of programs, like I said, I need to get through for today before we begin the new month tomorrow. And this Dear Journal episode is going to be on how to focus on the right stuff. And I wanted to write about this in my journal as well as talk about it because myself included, as well as I'm sure many of you watching or right now in the live or in the replay, feel a little bit conflicted about, you have aspirations, you have goals in your life, but what happens? We kind of get in our own way. We start to block our blessings, is what I like to say. And it's simply because of what? We're not focusing on the right stuff. We focus on things that, wow. Okay, Chris, thank you for that comment. That's interesting. We focus on the things that are not helping us grow and not helping us develop. And, it's challenging. It's really, really challenging because at the end of the day, we are in control of how happy we are. We are in control of how much we grow and develop. We are in control of how much wealth and prosperity and joy and peace that we acquire in this life. And so if we refuse to work on a daily regimen of self-development, self-growth, learning, we won't get where we want to get. So ultimately, what are the things to focus on, right? And so I have kind of a list of what I wrote in my journal, and this is where I'd love for you to chime in and share with me exactly, do you agree, disagree? What are things that you're focusing on that maybe I don't have on my list, right? And so let's get to it. So first thing I would say for what to focus on is, what do you want? Right? I think that when you think big scale or small scale of like your life and your career and family goals and spiritual goals and nutritional goals and all goals, right? What do you want ultimately? And if that's not clear for you, then what does that mean? If you're a practitioner of The Secret or the Law of Attraction, which I am, you will know that would be really problematic to go on in your life not having a clear focus on what you want, because then what? The universe cannot deliver a lack of clarity, right? It can't deliver on a moving target. So being very crystal clear on what you want is going to help you focus on those things specifically and work towards achieving those things. So clarity is key in most presentations and most talks I do. That's usually like step one for me, and step one that I teach other people, because people underestimate the value of clarity, because the idea of like, oh, I want this, and it's kind of vague and evasive. What exactly do you want? Right? Like, do you want a building? Do you want a home? Do you want children? Do you want a vacation home? Do you want animals? Like, what exactly do you want? And then you can specify and break down in a timeline for yourself so that you have a kind of a goal and a roadmap for yourself. So clarity of what you want is key. And so it starts with there. And then the next thing I would say, and this is something that so many of my clients have struggled with, as well as friends and family members, which is, what makes you happy? What makes you happy is something that is, going to, I think it shouldn't surprise you to say, like, you should be able to account for what makes you happy, but too many people I know, if I were to ask you that question, have nothing to say. And that's really sad and challenging. But again, it's something that you can change. It's something that you can work on. So when thinking about focusing on the right stuff, clarity, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? But then also, what makes me happy? Right? Because if you start to think about what makes you happy, then what can you do? You can implement and embed that in your life. But again, if you don't have clarity, if you don't have an understanding of what makes you happy, forget about it, right? So what do you want? What makes you happy? And then this is something I've really had to work on in the last 2 years, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, which is healthy boundaries. What do I mean by that? So on my radio show on 90.3 WHBC, I actually had a conversation with a therapist who kind of broke that concept down, and you can find that on the dressandroommate.com website on the press page. Just go to 90.3 WHBC, and I think her name's Sarah Madras, and you will see and listen essentially to the key to really establishing healthy boundaries, and that's a whole other conversation. But healthy boundaries, I find, are really helpful for making you focus on what you need to focus on. Because what does it do? It creates a safe space for yourself and others in your life who may be violating those boundaries because of what their needs are, or because they're not thinking about what you want and they're focused all on them. And yes, that makes sense, but is it right? No. Does it create havoc? Does it create emotional distress? Absolutely, right? When you're doing your thing and mom or dad or nana or people, friends, kind of invade your space and take. And if you don't create a healthy boundary to make it clear that, like, nope, I'm not giving this up. Nope, this is not okay. Then how can you ever progress on your goals, on what you need to focus on, if you haven't created that safe space for yourself? Essentially, creating healthy boundaries is how you can create a space for you to achieve, for you to succeed, for you to prosper, right? And for you to thrive, not just, survive, which so many people are in kind of survival mode. And it's hard. It's hard to get into a mindset where you start to say no to your loved ones, when you start to push back and say, no, I can't let you borrow money. No, I can't let you take this from me. No, I can't let you stay with me. I understand it's challenging, but it's necessary, right, guys? It's a necessary challenge that you have to overcome. So again, clarity. What do I want? Next, what makes me happy? Third, creating healthy boundaries. Then next is, and it kind of works hand in hand with the healthy boundaries, saying no. Simply saying no. Who said no for today? Have I said no yet? I said no to myself about something, but I haven't said no outside. But I think that's important because you count too. You have to say no to that inner demon. You have to say no to negative comments. You have to say no to negative people, right? You have to say no to things that violate your boundaries. You have to say no to things that you don't want, to things that don't make you happy. You've got to say no. Saying no is vital to creating a life of joy and fulfillment for yourself. It's not optional. It's mandatory. And it's interesting that so many people struggle with this 2-letter word, because you would think of all the words to say in the English language, no and yes would be super easy. It's funny. People are some people are people pleasers. Some people can't get over the idea of disappointing others. Hey, you can simply ask yourself and go down this list, right? If I want to focus on me, what do I want? What's going to make me happy? Did I create boundaries to set this up and set myself up for success, right? And am I saying no when I need to say no? Important things, ladies and gentlemen. So there's that. And then also, and this is kind of the Virgo and the planner in me, and I, again, love to hear your thoughts on the matter. What is on your to-do list? Do you have a plan for today? Right? And so if you don't, that's fine. If that's not how you live, okay. But I ask you, does not planning help you succeed more? Does not planning help you achieve more? For me, I have found in the years that I've been alive on this planet, every time I create a plan for myself, I give myself a roadmap. So for people who say, they kind of live life at the seat of their pants, they don't really like plans, they don't really do the calendar thing, totally understand that perspective. But is it easier to achieve a goal when you have a roadmap for that goal? The answer is always yes. It's just yes. What do the most successful people on this planet say? They have a plan. They have a plan for what they're doing in the day. They have a plan for what they're doing for tomorrow, next week, 6 months from now. So it depends on what you want out of life. If for you emulating success, if for you creating things for yourself is something you want for you, then boom, we got to have a plan. It's not, again, not optional. It's kind of mandatory. So, if you disagree, agree, come on in and share and tell me what you're thinking. But that's a part of focusing on the right stuff, which is focusing and narrowing in, what do you need to do for today? I'll break it down for you today. For me, I have 2 other live streams that I'm doing. I have to clean. I need to make sure I'm eating all my meals, probably put a nap in there. I need to read. I need to speak with loved ones. I went to the gym already, but again, moving my body in some way or form, either through cleaning or through walking, right? Those are just some of the things that I need to get done for today. But I would struggle to achieve any of that if I didn't already have that set out in my mind, if I didn't already have that written down in multiple places. So I urge you, if that is important for you, if you are really like, listen, I want my life to breed and develop into, again, fill in the blank for yourself, you're going to have to put a plan in place, and not just a big 10-year, 20-year, 30-year plan, but today. What are you going to do in the next 4 hours? What are you going to do in the next 8 hours? What are you going to do in the next 48 hours? Things like that. All right. And then also, who here does vision boarding? I do. I've done talks on it. I love vision boarding. It is one of the greatest things that I enjoy. I know there's different streams of thought on the idea. Personally, I recommend it. I recommend doing one every year, refreshing yourself so that you have an understanding again of what are your intentions. Are you going to achieve everything on your vision board? I've met people who've said they have. So it's definitely possible for sure. For me, I would say so far I've averaged about between 75 and like 80% of my board recently. Sometimes it's been less, sometimes it's been more. The goal is to set intentions. I don't see how that can ever be problematic in life to set intentions, but you do it. And for me, I think when you're thinking about focusing on the right stuff, if you've already set your intentions for the year through a vision board, then what do? You can go and that's why it's important to put it in a place where you can see it all the time. You can focus, you can spend time and energy with it. Focusing on the right stuff allows you to be able to, with a vision board, go to wherever it is physically located at, in your home or in your workspace, and spend time, 5 minutes a day, looking at that vision board, right? We spend a lot of time streaming through social media. We spend a lot of time reading a bunch of negative crap, but how many times are we focusing on the right stuff? And you've set your intentions through a vision board, frickin' use it, right? It's not that hard. All right. Next. Who here has fears? I want to know. Fears. It's very natural. It's very human, right? So when we're focusing on the right stuff, do we focus on the fears and like what scares us and what we don't want to happen? Or do we focus on solutions in place to help us move past our fears? What do you think is the right answer? Dun, 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 dun. Y'all know what the right answer is. Y'all know. The right answer is to focus on the things, the tactical, practical things that you're going to do to overcome fear, right? So I can give you an example to make that clearer for you. Say you are afraid of public speaking. That's fine. A lot of people are. What would you do to overcome that fear? Would you sit every day and just be like, oh man, I'm so afraid of public speaking. I hope no one asks me to do public speaking. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. Da, 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 da. Or would you say, maybe I'm going to go to an improv class, right? Because improv is really cool because what? It helps you loosen up. It helps you focus on how you can just kind of talk and react and be animated right off the cuffs. Just like you're doing it and you're just like, oh, okay. So that would help you what? Calm your anxiety, calm your nerves when it comes to public displays in front of other people. What's another thing that you could do? Have you heard of Facebook Live? Have you heard of IGTV? Right? You could start to use social media to help you train yourself into overcoming your fear. Because what? There are billions of people on social media. If you're putting out content all the time on social media, you are in front of a lot of people. And guess what? It's from actually the comfort of your home or wherever you're at. So it's kind of like a nice microcosm of public speaking, right? This is a form of public speaking, but it's more comfortable because I don't necessarily have a bunch of people looking directly at me. So you're easing yourself into the process of learning how to articulate, how to spread a message, how to build an audience, at your pace and from the comfort of wherever you're doing it. So, I don't know. That seems like a really cool idea. Right? So what my point is on the how to focus on the right stuff is ultimately, if you have fears, instead of sitting down and thinking about the fears, hoping they don't happen, hoping no one makes you confront them, you challenge yourself to push past the fears with tactical, practical solutions that you've come up with, or you work with, say, someone like myself, a coach, or if you want to work with a mentor, or if you have a friend working with you, whomever you decide to work with on your fears, on the things that you want to push past, that is how you focus on the right stuff. The wrong stuff would be focusing on the fear, focusing on what you don't like, right? And what's not making you happy. And then the next thing, and then we can move on to like what not to focus on, because I think that that's key for people to just like remember what's not going to work for you guys, which is making your dreams into reality. So when I mentioned the vision board, right? A vision board is great and all, but if you don't actually try to put any of the things in your vision and in your attention into real life, then what are we doing? We're dreaming without action, which achieves what? Nothing, boom, boom. It just creates a board with pictures and words on it. So that's cool, right? But if that's not your intention, if your intention is to actually achieve these goals, these things that you've set out for yourself, then you need intention and action for the outcome of choice. And will the outcome always be in your favor? Not necessarily. I'm not a seer. I can't tell you that. I wish I could see the future. Hello. Hello. But as of right now, not so much. But what I will tell you, because I can speak from my own personal experience, action and intention is more likely to get you where you want to go than just living with intention or acting without intention. Right? It kind of works both ways there. So with that, I think we can shift gears a little bit into what not to focus on. So it doesn't matter what other people think and what they think about what you're doing. Does it matter, their interpretation of your life and their thoughts, and if they agree or disagree with you? What do you think? The answer is hell's no. Hells to the no. No. What other people think and what other people have to say do not matter. Why? Because are you living for you, or are you living on the terms of other people? It's really simple. Now, if people have constructive criticism, again, that's a different segmentation of theory that you can think about there. I think constructive criticism, again, is helpful. You have to be mindful of the source for which it's coming from, because again, if it's coming from someone intentionally trying to harm you, intentionally hating on you, is it really constructive criticism? No, it's probably just hateration, right? But in the workplace, definitely constructive criticism is very, very oftenly shared. That's something to take into consideration to be a better performer, to be a better valuable asset to your company and your own workplace and ... But generally, when we walk around and someone's like, girl, I don't think you should have worn that, and it creates this like emotional dizzy spell for ourselves, nonsense. This is nonsense. What other people think, it's nonsense. Like this comment that I got here, nonsense. Is it gonna shake you? Is it gonna break your day? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have to keep it moving, wish people well in life, and that's that, right? You can't let the hateration, the inquiries, the people questioning you and need to know. Also, another thing that I love is when people want you to explain your life to them. Oh, how are you doing this? And ... I do not owe anyone an explanation as to how I'm living. Neither do you. So, for example, I'll give you guys a real practical example. Me and the hubby were relocating to Arizona. So excited. Goodbye, New York. Peace out. It's been real. Right? But what have we been faced with? We've been faced with a million questions of people trying to have us, or me rather, explain, well, what do you mean and what are you doing? Am I required to explain my life to you? Abso-freaking-lutely not. That is not what I need to focus on. What I need to focus on is what I said earlier, what I want, what makes me happy, setting healthy boundaries so I am in a space that I can thrive and succeed. Woohoo! Yes, Kellyanne. What's on my to-do list for today? What's on my to-do list for this week? What's on my vision board? Spending time with the vision board. Pushing past fears with tactical, practical solutions I put in place for myself. Turning my dreams into reality. I do not have the time or the the energy to waste on what other people think about the plan, what other people need for me to explain about my plan. Get your life. Get your life. You're welcome to ask the questions. Absolutely, right? That's the beauty of people and choice. We all are entitled to ask our questions and say what we want to say to each other. But I am not required to explain my life to you, nor are you required to explain your life to anyone else. So I want to make that crystal clear for people because it seems like it's a bit confusing for people. People are asking all sorts of crazy questions. And I just think it's hilarious. Like, I think it's funny because I'm just like, that's funny that you think that I'm required to answer these questions. No. No. Not explaining my life to you. I'm going to live my life and you're welcome to be a part of it or not. But that's where we're at with that. So I really want to encourage you as you're living your life, as you're achieving your goals, don't ever feel obligated to have to explain your life to anyone. Because what does that mean? It means you're not living your life. You're too busy explaining it. Cut the crap. Live your life. Do what you need to do. Focus on the right stuff. It's not the right stuff. Next, also self-doubt and fears, right? Is that what we focus on? If we are living our lives, we wake up and, I don't feel good about this, or I don't like this about myself. Is that the right stuff we need to be focusing on? No. If you're feeling challenged or you feel upset about something that you don't like, right? Oh, Kellyanne says, I started reading the 25 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Loving it already. Love it, Kelly. And great. I love you too, darling. Arizona, yes, I know. New Yorkers are a little bit upset to be losing us, but listen, y'all, it's a little bit crazy in this state. And I think the other parts of the country probably question how many of us stay here because it's cold and it's miserable and yeah. But, at the end of the day, everybody's got to do them. I know what I need for me, and I need days and days of sunlight. I need opportunities to meet new people, to explore, to grow, to spend more time with my husband, with our pets in the warm weather. That's what we need, right? And that's what we're going to get. And anyone who can't get behind that, hey, c'est la vie, baby. That's what it's got to be. So another couple of things. I talked about self-doubt, fears, also the what if negatives. I think if you guys are really focusing on what you 15, not 25. Oh, 25. Oh, 15 of the 15 invaluable laws of growth. Gotcha. Thanks for the clarity. If you start to really think about focusing on the right stuff in your life, the what if and the negative is never going to get you there, right? So I'll give you an example. What if you're applying for a job and you don't get it? Okay. So if you think about that after you put in your application, does that help you like increase your chance of getting the job? No, it doesn't. So why are we doing this? How is this helpful? How is this an outcome that you don't want, that you're focusing energy on? Nonsense. Let's try to be logical, not illogical with our goals, right? So that's one example. How about another thing? Say you are an artist, right? And you are submitting for a festival or you want to have your art displayed or something like that. So you submit your art, you submit your application, whatever application fees. And then what's the first thought that pops into your mind? Oh man, I hope they don't reject me because I really want to be a part of this exhibit. Is that helpful? Is that helpful? Like, and I say that with like sternness in my voice because it's frustrating to me how much we literally will move one step and then we move back 2 steps. That's exactly what you're doing every time you do that, guys. Every single time. So I really want you to think about that. If you're trying to walk forward, then why do you keep going backwards? What are you doing? So every time you say the what if in the negative, it will never allow you to move forward. Do we want to move forward or backwards in our life? What do you think? Forward. So, for the love of God, please stop doing this. Focus on the right stuff. And I'm going to go through the list one more time just to make sure everybody understood. I'm going to have to get real Jamaican with y'all if you don't stop. First, what do I want? Clarity. Focusing on the right stuff means you have to get clear, crystal clear on what do you want. What makes me happy? Should be obvious. It's not for a couple more people that I think it really should be, but it's not. So what makes you happy is a part of focusing on the right stuff. If you don't know that, spend the rest of today thinking and doing things to help you answer that question for yourself. And bloody well write that answer down somewhere on your phone, on a notebook, whatever. Next, do I have healthy boundaries set in place in my life? Whether we're talking about the workplace, whether we're talking about Nana and family and cousins and Titi and do we have healthy boundaries? Because if you don't have healthy boundaries, as you try to walk forward, what will people do? Cut you off, stand in your way, pull you back. We got to keep walking forward, right? Healthy boundaries essentially creates kind of this bubble of success for yourself that you're going to be in, and you're going to keep walking, you're going to keep moving. That's what you need, and you cannot expect anyone else to create these for you. That's an inside job you have to do. You have to literally sit with yourself and say, what are the boundaries that certain people in my life are constantly violating, and how can I fix them so that I can move forward? Next, we've got to say no. I talked about it earlier. Saying no is good. It's good. It is not bad. Saying no is saying yes to yourself sometimes. Saying no is saying yes to certain opportunities that you want or certain opportunities you don't want. Saying no gives you healthy boundaries sometimes, right? So saying no is something we have to embrace. It's something that we have to understand, and we have to apply it. And guess what? It's not just an external conversation. Sometimes you have to say no to yourself. Like, for instance, today at the gym, I've been working on walking for an hour on the treadmill. It's been really hard, guys, really hard. What do? I have to say no to myself when I want to stop at 5 minutes. I have to say no when I want to stop at 25 minutes. I have to say no when I want to stop at 45 minutes, right? Saying no is sometimes something we have to say to ourselves, right? So saying no is key. Then what's on your to-do list? How are you working through them? What's on your vision board? Do you even know? Have you checked it out? Are you actually working towards achieving, right? What are we putting in place to push past fears instead of just focusing on what scares us? And then how are we turning our dreams into reality? So those are the things we need to focus on. And so just a couple of quick notes. I know we're hitting time right now. So how do you focus, right? We went over all of that stuff as to what is the right stuff to focus on, what is the stuff not to focus on. First, a couple of things. Writing stuff down helps, guys. It's proven to people, like in all these articles come out on Inc., on Entrepreneur, like all these different outlets that say to you, if you want to be more successful, write it down. Now, hey, if you're like, I don't want to kill the trees. Okay, boom, boom. Write it on your phone. Good for you. We can be eco-friendly with our lives as well. So write it down. Whether you're writing it on your phone, you're writing it on a notebook, write it down. Gratitude. Gratitude is key, guys. If you are not grateful for everything in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, you are not going to attract more of the things you want that make you happy, right? So when you're really grateful for the things that have helped you, when you're really grateful for the prosperity you have in your life, it's a signal to the universe to deliver more of that, for you to be more grateful for it. So gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Wake up every day. What are 3 things you're grateful for? It can be the same 3 things. For me, it typically is the same 3 things. It's Khalil, it's waking up, and then it's something different for my 3rd one. Usually it's like the dog kiss, or being able to go to the gym and complete a session, or having a moment with you guys and connecting on social media, or writing a blog post successfully, or making a new connection, getting a new client, booking a new trip, booking a new, so things like that, right? So just gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. cut out the negative people. In the last 2 years, I would say I have cut out so many people in my life, and it has been glorious. Glorious. I do not waste any time speaking to anyone who is not on target with either making money, making opportunities, pushing the needle for women empowerment, pushing the needle for my culture, pushing the needle for eco-friendliness, right? Like pushing the needle to make this a bloody well better world. If you're not on target with that, then we don't need to talk. I want to talk to people who want to improve their lives, improve the world, improve others, improve the lives of animals, improve the lives of children. Like, I want to surround myself with people that share those types of goals, right? I understand not everybody's the same, but it doesn't mean that you have to expose yourself to everybody. So expose yourself to the people that are going to be pushing the needle, and you define what needles are important to you. For me, children, women, the environment, animal protection, right? Feminism, people who are marginalized and oppressed in this world. Those are things that are super important to me. Those are the things that I want to interact with people who are trying to do something about it. All right. Next, speak things into existence. Who here speaks into existence what they want, right? So if you're looking for a new job, I'm going to start working at X place. I'm going to move to X place. I'm going to buy a home, right? Speak into existence what you want. You don't have to do it for other people. It's important that you're doing this exercise for you. Okay. Now, stop yourself when you're going to be in a negative spell, right? So catch yourself when you're saying, oh, I hope this doesn't, catch yourself real quick and change the narrative, right? Turn it on its boat. If you miss it and you've already said it, say something positive. Say 3 things positive to replace the negative that you just put out there into the universe. And guess what? If you thought it, you have to think it too, right? So if you speak it or think it, you got to catch yourself or correct yourself. Make a change, right? So many of us are frustrated with things in our lives, with people in our lives. Make a change, right? You are not glued or stuck to anything. If you feel that way, that is in your head. It is not a reality. It's the same thing how they say limitations only exist in your mind. If you need to make a change in your life, guys, I'm telling you, I know it can be scary. I know it can be frustrating, but if you're focusing on the right stuff, you can make it happen. You could put it into existence. So make a change. Stay busy on your to-do list. I think it's a lot easier when we're focused and we're focusing and actually working towards something, you know, kind of like how parents say that, like some parents will say they kept their kids out of trouble because they were too busy at soccer and gymnastics and chess club and this, like they kept their kids out of, you know, kind of garbage. If you keep yourself busy and productive on the things that you need to focus on, the right stuff, then you don't have time. You don't have energy for the wrong stuff. So it's kind of obvious there, but I think it's worth really saying just to make sure that you're hearing me and that you think about how busy are you? Because yeah, if you have a day, 24 hours, we all have 24 hours. And if you have 18 hours to do nothing, you're going to spend a lot of time not focusing on the right stuff and probably not doing things to help yourself. Next, you have to be open to needing help. I think what I have really valued as being a coach is working with people who say, you know what, I can't do this alone. I need help. I keep standing in my way. I need you to help me get organized. I need you to help me focus on the right stuff. I need you to help me create a roadmap for myself. So whether you work with a coach, whether you work with, you know, a mentor, whomever, ultimately, you got to be open to change, right? And so when you're open to change and you're open and saying, I need help, you can then what? You can go and get that help. You can go and make that happen, but you have to be open. You have to have an open spirit, open mind about that. And then lastly, you got to be open and willing to make a change, right? We can have this whole elaborate conversation, but if you are not willing to make a change, if you are not willing to focus on the right stuff, then of course you won't. It's real simple. It's not like rocket science here. So if you are not willing to change and do anything different, then you're going to have the same results on and on and on. And you know what happens? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result is insanity. So It's up to you. It's totally up to you guys. So with that, we're a little bit over, but I appreciate all your time and attention to this. I really, 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 listen, I love doing this. I love being able to have a moment to share my thoughts and my truth with you. If you receive it and you appreciate it, my heart is with you, right? That's all that I want. If you want to challenge me and you feel like, I don't know if I agree, let's have a conversation, right? I think having conversations about stuff like this is everything. It's everything for me, at least, right? Because this is the right stuff, right? I'm sharing kind of what's in my journal, and I'm sharing what I'm thinking about. And I know you have valuable, important thoughts in your journal or in your head. And if you don't feel like you have a space to talk about it, Dressing Room Mate is definitely the space for you to talk about it. So with that, I would love for you to, in the comments, do a couple of things for me. One, I'd love to know, what are you focusing on right now? For me, my focus is moving to Arizona. And then also just setting up certain things that I want in my life that I don't have here, right? So a healthier, even more healthier workout regimen. Those are things I'm thinking about. I'm looking up at dance classes in Arizona. I'm looking up some hiking things, right? So what are things you're focusing on right now? I'd love to hear that. And then what help do you need, right? A lot of people tuned in. I want you to, feel free to open and share. Like, what do you need help on doing right now, right? And if I can help you, I'd love to help, right? But at least be willing to share that and to kind of profess that to the world, because once you do, you're pulling in the universe saying, hey, she or he needs help. They need something. All right. So we can manifest and make it happen. Next, have you subscribed to the blog, my blog, dressingroommate.com. If not, you can subscribe by email. You can sign up for the newsletter. Those would be great. That's how you stay in touch. I have to send last newsletter for this month shortly. So definitely go on there and subscribe so you can get my newsletter that's going out. And then if you aren't already following the Dressing Room Mate page on Facebook, it's DR8 Fashion is the handle. So I'd love for you to follow and stay abreast of all upcoming events. I try to stay very active on social media, despite the moving plans. Again, I'm not one to be idle. I'm not one to say, I can only do this. No, I have commitments. I have things and content I want to put out and produce. The content creator in me wouldn't allow me not to. So you're going to see me. You're going to see me constantly doing stuff. You'll just see, hopefully, different backgrounds as we make a transition. Okay, guys? Next, if you want to talk to me, if you really enjoy this conversation and you're like, I want to have maybe a one-on-one with me, I do free consultations all the time. So please go to dressingroommate.com, go to schedule a session. That's where you can schedule a session, 30 minutes, to have me all to you to chat, and we can talk about your goals. We can talk about what we talked about today, which is how to focus on the right stuff. We can talk about how we can stop blocking our own blessings and keep it moving. And then lastly, just share this video. Share this with anyone you feel like would benefit from this conversation, and tag them also. If you don't want to share it, just tag that person. And again, I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for watching this on the replay. And with that, stay tuned for all upcoming events at dressingroom8.com. You'll see on the calendar, the events page. It's busy, guys. It's a busy day today, and it's just going to keep on trucking because that's how I do. So I had fun. Thank you for joining me for Dear Journal. Today's segment was focus on the right stuff. I hope you will focus on the right stuff and you will stay in touch for all upcoming events. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.